When I was accepted into Civic House, I was excited to think how great it would be to learn about politics, to have something a little extra to put on my resume. Never did it cross my mind that at the end of the 4 years of high school, Civic House would change my career choice, political views, and outlook on life. Freshman year was probably one of my toughest years in Civic House. It was essentially the initiation year, where many people dropped out because of the pressures of all the courses. As I struggled to maintain my good grades and turn in all of my assignments, I always questioned the sheer amount of work that was given to us, thinking it was just busy work. But looking back now, I understand that the many reasons Ms. Reed had for assigning these projects. Not only did it prepare us for the next 3 years of prioritizing a variety of homework and extracurricular activities, but it also showed us the art of both teamwork and time management. What I also found out was that in Civitas, everything has a purpose, whether the students were able to see it or not. Everything Ms. Reed assigned was another building block to the next stages of our lives. Sophomore year was a year where I was able to get over my fear of public speaking. And understand that in order to be a true citizen of the world, I must not only look at the issues and worldly problems from an American view, but also how others viewed us. In speech and debate, Ms. Seibel taught me how imperative it was to have concrete facts and be able to cite its sources. My arguments went from vague and ineffective to precise and powerful. Ms. Reed demonstrated how differently the world sees certain issues, and we were able to see this firsthand when we had our very own mock UN. Students chose what country they wanted to be and found out their political, economical, and social perspectives and fully stepped into their role as that country's representative. Sophomore year is where my views started to change from the strongest Republican anyone knew to a Republican questioning if those views were actually my views or the views of my parents. Sophomore year was the turning point for me as I slowly started to understand the differences in the political parties and how the American government was structured. I re-examined my own values when I held to be true. I found myself extremely confused and always questioning what my beliefs were, which in the end was the best thing for me. Junior year started, and I was taught many philosophical thoughts through honors philosophy and the importance of saving and investing with AP Econ. These classes not only were my favorites, but also proved to be an essential part of becoming a well-rounded person. Now I understand the many philosophical references used in literature, movies, and conversations, and grasp the concept of the importance of the stock market and learning to invest at a young age. Well, junior year came and went, that summer again to be a perspective changer. Still telling others and myself that I was a die-hard Republican, I worked in the Democratic Assembly member Dr. Richard Pan's office. Seeing and hearing the polar opposite side of the political spectrum was an extremely valuable experience, and thus allowed me to be content with not labeling myself as a Democratic or a Republican. I became an independent. I began to not look at party lines, hating the fact that many people in America vote based solely on their party's lines without actually looking at the issue at hand. I concluded that rather than pinning myself to one side, as I was getting older, more educated, more well-rounded, I knew that my views were bound to change. Very few people actually fully agree with their full political party stance on every issue. Many people get into the lazy routine of agreeing with a party because it's easier than defending their own opinion. Standing in a group is very easy, but standing apart is essentially what sets one apart. It's not that I'm uncertain about problems, it's that finding a common ground and having our country move forward is more important to me than having one side win. America is extremely polarized now, especially with this past election. It seems like people nowadays are more concerned with having their party win, yet constantly question why our country is gridlocked and continuing to slip downhill. Imagine if there were no political parties, that people were actually forced to look at each issue and decide for themselves what should be voted on or what should be voted against. Throughout the 4 years of Civitas, each student must meet the requirement of 100 hours of community service during freshman and sophomore year. When given this information, I thought this task was going to be next to impossible. Not realizing that at the end of Civitas, I was going to log over 330 hours of community service. While I always enjoyed helping people, community service was never something I thought of as fun, but more something as the right thing to do. Once again, Civitas changed my perspective. As I started to chip away at it, I realized how much I actually enjoyed it. It was coming close to the start of junior year, and I desperately needed 20 more hours of community service. And a senior last year suggested that I should be a counselor at the Muscular Dystrophy camp. Loving camp as a child, I agreed to do it and give it a shot. That week of camp became life-changing for me. Not only did I fall in love with the community service, but I also fell in love with working with children. The first year I went, I had a camper named Nathan, 9 years old, just like my brother that year. Except, unlike my brother, Nathan was wheelchair-bound. Seeing so many kids and knowing that the majority of them wouldn't make it past the age of 20 broke my heart. But what surprised me about these kids were how happy they were to be there, and they wouldn't let their hardships hold them back. These kids are so strong and have such optimism, which allowed me to gain a completely different perspective on my life. It was the hardest week of my life, though. But the next year I went back, going into my senior year. And now I was one of the more experienced counselors, and with that came more responsibility. Each night I was up every 3 hours checking the monitors, breathing tubes, and turning girls over because they were unable to move on their own. During the day, it was all fun and games though, with campfires, arts and crafts, and carnivals. This camp was so rewarding for me. It has given me lifelong friendships, many memories, and even shaped my career path and my senior project. It was definitely one of the highlights of my summer. Because of this, I realized that I wanted my job to make me happy and not just make me money. I would like knowing that I could actually make a difference in someone's life and seeing that I'm needed. Even though this year is going to be hectic with heading off to college, I'm still looking forward to attending this camp once again. The theme this year is villain and superheroes. Senior year was the final and was essentially the most important part of Civitas. It was to show all you learned and apply that to benefiting the community. All the things that I rolled my eyes at freshman year along with sophomore and junior year now played a vital role in my success at this academy. The prioritizing was a must, public speaking essential, and the commitment imperative. For my senior project, I decided to pull together the whole Sacramento community and throw together a Halloween carnival for the children staying at Sutter Memorial Hospital. Day in and day out, these children proved their strength. Their resilience and outlook on life proves to be much stronger than any adults I've seen. As a kid, Halloween was one of the most highly anticipated days of the year. It was that one year that my mom didn't limit the amount of candy I had or my bedtime. I didn't think there was any excuse for a kid to miss Halloween, even if they were in the hospital. While planning this event, there were definitely some bumps along the way. But the success came because of my commitment to never give up and the support I had from many of the adults around me. Dr. Greenholz, a highly specialized pediatric surgeon at Sutter Memorial Hospital, and his wife, Teacher Greenholz, who are also my neighbors, gave me the contact information for the Child Life Center at Sutter Memorial Hospital, and vouched for me that I would essentially get the job done. But the Child Life Board was extremely hesitant with even allowing they were extremely hesitant with allowing me to go ahead with this project just because it was dealing with kids and they didn't want me to say, I could promise all the kids all this stuff and in the end, not having the kids get their carnival. But Dr. Greenholz gave him his word and, with that I completely understood where their hesitation stemmed from. And it made me even that much more dedicated to get the job done. From working with the kids at the Muscular Dystrophy camp, I knew that many of these children were going to need more hands-on activities because of their limited mobility. I called many local companies from food vendors to DJs and finally had a solid list of contributors for this carnival. I gave myself enough time to be able to contact the corporate office of Lowe's when with dealing with one of their local branches didn't work out, which in turn allowed me to receive 50 free donated fire trucks that the children could assemble. I reached out to many businesses in the Sacramento area, so many in fact that in the end some had to be turned away. Originally the carnival was supposed to be outside, but upon further planning I realized that half the children were not even allowed to go out of the hospital, let alone off their own floor. This time and flexibility that I allowed for this project gave me the ability to move the carnival inside and do a more craft-focused carnival rather than one with outdoor activities. In the end, Steve Buzzard, a local DJ, agreed to play music. 100 mini pumpkins were donated for the children to decorate. Leatherby's donated 100 cups of ice cream, and Saving Nations Elementary School donated their photo booth and carnival games. Along with that, there is face painting, fire truck assembly, scrapbooking, and prizes. Seeing the children's faces light up when they walked through the decorated room and saw all the options to do demonstrated to me that this carnival had been a success. It was more than I ever hoped for, and it just goes to show what one community could do when working together for one cause. No amount of writing, pictures, or examples could fully demonstrate the impacts that Civitas had on me. As a freshman, I would have never dreamed that my career path would be one ideally working with nonprofits. As a freshman, I would have never dreamed that I would voluntarily want to do the community service. As a freshman, I would have never dreamed that I would call myself anything but a Republican. but seeing the big picture proved essential to me and a big part of growing up. Allowing buffer room for mistakes and edits proved to be indispensable knowledge. I could walk out of high school confident, ready for the world because of the person Civitas made me. Thank you.
Okay, so I think Courtney's open for questions if you
Yes.
like to.
And then if anyone wants to see the vote how I compile. Yes.
How long in advance did you prepare to plan that?
I started talking to Dr. Greenholz in the summertime, just, feeling out what would be the best way to approach what I wanted to do. And then I really started getting everything done, like September, late August. And then I went to different meetings with different child life boards. And then I finally got the okay, so then I really just put it, into full throttle, calling everyone. Like, I remember one time Miss Reed wrote me passes, and literally the whole day I was just there making phone calls for like 6 hours, just seeing who could go and who could help. But it was really great because from the amount of people that were able to get, it wasn't really an issue after that. Like, I had so many people confirmed and ready to do it, but really enthusiastic about it. So like, it was a really great thing for the community. Yeah.
Any other questions for Courtney? So what are your plans then?
I'm hoping to go into nutrition and ideally over at TCU, Texas Christian University. And I really want to either work with nonprofits or the kids at muscular dystrophy camp because a lot of them are overweight and you could tell because they can't move, there's no way to even exercise that often. So it must just be extremely uncomfortable for them to sit there, 14, 15 hours a day just sitting in one position in a chair. If they were a lot, healthier and lighter, it'd be a lot, a better life for them. And so that's really something that I want to do. I love, like I said, working with children. Like the child life doing my senior project had a bigger impact on me than I would have ever thought. Ideally, it was just, this would be something fun to do, but seeing all those kids' faces and having parents come up to me with tears in their eyes saying my kid wouldn't get a Halloween was a really big, yeah.
I was just at TCU, and that's where I decided to go into education.
Oh,
I
really?
was a religion major.
Oh, wow, okay.
And they have a school on the campus called Starpoint School, which is a lab school for kids with disabilities. So
Oh my
as
gosh.
superintendent of San Juan, Miss Reed is going to give you my card. I will make some contacts with you and make sure you get some time at Starpoint.
Oh my
I was
gosh.
just there.